Shit. Hello and welcome to my podcast. Today is Friday, and we are here to discuss my toxic ex in more detail than last time, obviously. So I'm just going to start with women first. I decided to do women first because I am a lesbian, and while the men obviously contributed to toxic exes, they're not that important, but we will get into them on a separate show. So, starting out strong, I met EJ, Susanna Elizabeth Jane Boudoir, when I was 21. She was 45. She was the owner of the bar that I met her in. She was very sketchy at first about even becoming involved with someone who was significantly younger than her. And she'd not had, obviously had not had the greatest moments with an ex that still bartended for her. She had gotten her hooked on cocaine. She cheated on her all the time. She set up, like after they broke up, she would set up girls to go and ask her out or spend the night with her or whatever. And she'd wake up in the middle of the night and they'd be long gone. So she was trying very hard, I guess, not to let this make her a toxic person and to not, let it make her a hateful person and just assume that everybody was bad. So I went there a couple nights in a row, and finally she agreed to, take a chance on me. We went back to her place that night. We hooked up. I essentially spent the next 12 years of my life off and on with her. I really struggled with the fact that I was gay. I really struggled with coming out. I did not officially come out until I was 27. So pretty much any time that I was dating EJ, it was kind of like behind the back of the other people, because I didn't want anybody to know that I was gay, because I was afraid if my parents found out, they would disown me or they would hate me. My parents actually came around just fine when I came out. It took about a year, but they did come around and understand that I was happier this way, and they absolutely love Amy, so that's a good thing. But I was just very scared because I knew my family was very religious. Both my parents are older. They're from Kansas, which is in the middle of the Bible Belt. They're very proper, I guess is the correct term. She had a daughter that was 17. I will not be putting her name on here because she's not part of this story or her grandkids. But anyway, her daughter at the time that we met was 17. She was only 4 years younger than me, but she was really excited about it because she felt like her mom needed to move on. And, we ended up hitting it off really good. I spent the whole night with her that night. I went home the next day, packed a bag, took a shower. I had classes, so I went to class, and then after that I went back to the bar, and that's where she told me to meet her and said I could come spend my upcoming winter break with her if I wanted to. And I said that was fine, except that I would need to go to my parents obviously for the holidays because I need to see my parents. So we ended up spending a lot of time together over the course of the next couple of years. We were almost always together. We were very rarely apart. Now, she did not like the way that she looked. She had really crappy body confidence. She felt that she was fat and that she wasn't pretty. And despite my constant encouragement, this led to the claim that this is why she never wanted to take pictures. Which is funny because she would take solo pictures all the time. But whatever. We'll get into that. And, she never, she put out there that we were in a relationship on Facebook, but she privated it so other people couldn't see it unless they were friends with her. And then she was very, very, very selective about who she was friends with. Granted, I am too, but that's because of my kids, not because I don't want people to know that I'm in a relationship. Hold on a second. So, I ended up breaking up with her a couple of years after that because, she was not what I thought she was. And she had gotten back into the drugs, and she was drinking heavily on top of everything else. And I was just like, I can't do this. I personally cannot do this. So I ended up leaving her for a while. I dated some men around that time. I even actually got married. Anyway, sorry. I just kind of like, I started dating men because I was like, I have to be straight. I have to be straight for my family to be happy. So that's what I started doing. I dated some men in there. I dated a guy named Brian for like a few days, but he was really weird, and that ended up not going well. I did not see EJ again until 2015, I think it was. So I got married to my ex-husband in 2014. It was not a smart decision. He was an abusive alcoholic. So like I said, I'll expand on him more in the male part of this section, this podcast. But for right now, just know that he was a very abusive man, and he was a drunk. And the only reason I stayed with him as long as I did is because I was waiting for his mom to move, and she was going to take the kids, and I didn't want to leave him with the children and not be able to take care of them. I needed them to be safe. So in 2015 he went to rehab. I filed for divorce while he was in rehab because that was the only time that I felt like I could do so safely and there wouldn't be any consequences. I ended up, the night that I filed the papers, calling EJ and having her come over, and I slept with her. We spent the night together. We were talking. Then he texted me and he's like, I left rehab and I'm coming home. And I was like, oh my God. And, you know, she was like, do you need me to stay? Do you want me to go? Do you want to go with me? And I was like, no, I've got to confront this. I've got to deal with it. I said, you know, the marriage isn't officially over, obviously, as I just filed, but I do need to make sure that that is a hard pass. You know, that it's a clean cut, a clean break. He came home from rehab. We got into it. I ended up going and staying at her place because I did not want to be around him. We were officially divorced on October 23rd, 2015. And the only reason I have this date like ingrained in my brain is, first of all, freedom. Second of all, it's also my youngest niece's birthday. So that's why that's like forever ingrained in my brain. Well, my youngest niece is on the Riemann side, I should say. And aside from that, you know, and then I ended up back with EJ, and then 2 years later, again, we broke up because, again, the same situation. Never wanted to take pictures with me, was cheating, was using behind my back without telling me, was talking to her ex and, you know, trying to hook up with her all the time. And she would claim that she only hooked up with her for, like, a fix. And I'm like, that doesn't make it better. That's still cheating. That's still a shitty thing to do. And so fast forward to 2017, I've got a girlfriend. 2017, fast forward, I now have a girlfriend. And I am 27 years old. Or something. Hold on. 36 is 2024, 5. Maybe it was 2018. I don't know. Somewhere around that time, 2017, 2018, whatever the case may be, I was with Destiny. She's also in this segment. We'll talk about her another time, but just know that that was not a normal situation that I was in. It was not a normal relationship. In fact, it was very awkward and very weird, especially with her mother. I will not speak ill on the dead, however, because I did find out that her mother has since passed on. But I will talk about her mother, but I'm not going to speak ill of her mother. So I just need you to know that whatever I say in that segment about it's for context. It's not to be an asshole. It's the truth, and it's the context of the truth. So I would never say anything that wasn't true. I would never speak ill of the dead. I would never be disrespectful like that. But it is important to always have context with this. She cheated on me because apparently nobody can be faithful in my relationships. She cheated on me, and I broke up with her. This was after I went to Sunman, or this was after I went to Winnemac, and my sister kicked me out of her house, which she's going to be in the family members part of my podcast. So, and my sister kicked me out. Yeah, it was just a big mess. So I ended up staying in Indiana for a while in Sunman with my stepmother and my bio father. Chris is now passed, and I no longer speak to Alice. We never really had a connection. We did not have a good relationship. It was just, we tried our best to get along sometimes for the sake of my father, but with him gone, there's really nothing there. She doesn't reach out to me. She doesn't talk to me. She's never tried to have a conversation with me or anything of that sort. So that is why she will also be in the toxic family members section, for different reasons, but yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So I ended up breaking up with Destiny. I got back together with EJ. Came full circle, 2019. I want to say it's 2019. I met Kyla, who's also in this podcast later on. I met Kyla. She convinced me to break up with EJ for good. She convinced me to quit my job because I worked at a deli that she used to own, but she lost because she was an alcoholic and just wasn't a very good businesswoman because of that. And I ended up hooking up with her one night and never spoke to her again. She ghosted me after that. I did not fully go back to EJ at that point. I was just hooking up with her occasionally because, you know, I had no self-esteem and I was like, I'm never going to find love and this shit's going to suck. And then in 2021, I cut her off right before I met Amy. I said, you know, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And that was how I got involved with Amy. We met on TikTok. She messaged me some cheesy pickup line like, where do I sign up to get to know you? And she came out the following weekend and we had a great time. She went home. I paid to bring her back the next day and the rest is history. And now we're here. We bought this house together. We are married. We are officially married. We have a very happy, healthy love life. We are, you know, very, very good for each other and we are good to each other, and that is really important. That being said, that is the kind of story. I know it doesn't seem like there really is a lot of detail because there's not really a lot of detail to give other than this. The thing that finally led to EJ and I being done, she accused me of sleeping with my Zumba instructor, Rebecca. She just screaming at me, and I mean screaming at me, and she was like, if you just tell me that you slept with her, I'll stop. And I was like, you want me to tell you that I did something that I didn't do to make you stop yelling at me? And I really considered it for a minute, and I knew too that if I called Rebecca, she would have backed me up and said, no, we've never slept together, we're not interested in each other, we're just friends. But I did not want to bring somebody else into my drama. But I also could not, in good conscience, tarnish someone else's reputation just to get my girlfriend to chill the fuck out. I had never slept with Rebecca. I've never wanted to sleep with Rebecca. I've never dated Rebecca. I've never hooked up with Rebecca. There's never been anything there with Rebecca. She's also mentioned in the friends section of this podcast. So yeah, there's going to be a lot here. Anyway, so she picked me up and smashed me through her coffee table because I refused to say I was sleeping with Rebecca when I wasn't. And I was done after that. I was like, yep, this escalated to physical violence. I'm out. Bye, bitches. And I cut her off and I haven't seen or spoken to her since. Obviously, I'm married now, which is part of the reason why I haven't seen or spoken to her since. But I don't think I would even if I wasn't married, because it was not a healthy relationship and it took me too long to realize that. So that's EJ's story. It's great. It's exciting, isn't it? Anyway, you guys know where to find me on the YouTube and on Podbean. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.